Okay, we're online. Should be good. Everything's doing good. I'm gonna move to that and gonna say hello to everyone out there that is tuning in. And if you are catching this stream later on, then good morning, good day, good afternoon, good evening to you. My name is Jonathan. I am the cello coach, and I'm here with our studio update. I want to quickly just give you all thank you for first, just a big thank you to each and every one of you for supporting the channel, for learning with me, for learning with everyone. I'll get to everybody's comments afterwards, so thank you for tuning in. But I got to get through some details, and then we'll get to your comments. So again, thank you for tuning in. But let's get right to it. Studio update Q3 Q3 2020. First, the online calendar. For those of you booking using the online calendar, thank you. I really appreciate it. I have been meeting some good and wonderful students from all over the world, and it's working brilliantly. I do request, if you want to use the online calendar, please give me a lead time, somewhere around 4 hours or something. So I do need a minimum of 4 hours, prefer longer, when you book your times. Now, about the online calendar, there's some details in that video, which I'll link in the description below after this, about how you get your lesson with me. And that has to deal with the tuition. You must remit your tuition at time of reservation. I get a notice from PayPal, and when that happens, then your lesson is unlocked. So just remember to remit your tuition when you make your reservation. And then I will contact you via Skype. Please leave your Skype information in there, and I will do that with you guys, and you will start conversing via Skype. This is for my studio students and future studio students as part of the video. I want to plan our first online recital. I think it's about time that some of us exposed I think it's time that we played for the world, or at least our little community here online. And given the situation going on the planet, wouldn't it be right to have an online recital? If you have an iPad, and this is not just for the studio students, you can reach out if you're a subscriber or patron, you can do this as well. If you have an iPad or just have an arrangement and you would like to perform whatever you're working on, you can contact me and we can set something up. I would like to get at least 4 to 5, at least a half hour. It's nothing big. There is going to be some beginners in there, but I would like for the world to see what we're working on here in the studio. This confinement, this pandemic, has made me quite busy. That's why I have not been posting very much on the channel since March. I've been working a lot here in the studio, and so I just wanted you to know that I'm committed to each and every one of your advancement on cello, and so I want you to be able to share that with the world. And so consider performing in our online recital. And for those of you that have iPads, we can work with TomPlay, and TomPlay is that application that you can have accompaniment with your music playing. So that would be something wonderful for each and every one of us out there. Again, 5 to 6, no more than 10. I don't expect many of us to do, but I will definitely be quite happy on that. And of course, I'll do a little online recital and have a little secret of mine. You always hear me play. This is a message to my patrons on Patreon. I have made a posting on Patreon, and if you are a patron, thank you very much for each and every one of your support. Your monthly support really helps this channel. Even though it's little, it still means a lot for me. And so what I have done on Patreon is I'm offering these t-shirts. And I have some, and I'd like to just give a gift to each one of my patrons that have been supporting me for quite a while, and this is my gift of a thank you to you guys. And so I'm going to run this gift until the end of August. This is the summer gift, and you can go on Patreon and select your color. Of course, you have to be a patron to do so, and you can well, you just go on there for all the patrons. And if you want to be a future patron, then go on there, support the channel, support accessibility to cello, and get a cool shirt. I have limited stock, so I don't think I'll ever make these again. Now for the big channel update. I've been wanting to deal with you guys. I want to see if I missed anything for the studio students. No, that's about it. I really commit my whole, that's why I call this a studio update. I really commit most of my time to my students. And I want the students to know that you contact me via Skype is always the best way of doing that. That's our direct communication with you. So that's always the best. So about the channel is growing thanks to all of you guys, and I do try my best to answer all of your comments. But I'm first going to talk about the links to the sheet music. Now, there's a lot of sheet music in my older videos that I had available, and I had to remove all of that after the Article 13 here in the EU. We had to protect ourselves, online creators, and so there's a lot of that music that is under authorship. I cannot legally share that with you at the current moment. If you are a studio student, of course, we are protected by a fair use clause of education, but if you're just simply the public, then those links have been removed. You can find most of the music, of course, online, and you can also go on Jellynote in the future and find much of those songs under authorship for download on Jellynote. So consider doing that in the future. And about my responses to your comments, I do love reading your comments. I'm going to start prioritizing my time because, well, it's now limited. And I can see who is a public subscriber and who isn't on my channel. And so I would like for you all to interesting here, just looking at this. Let me get my eyes away. I would like for each of you guys to if you want to subscribe. I have a little red box beside your name, and I will prioritize your response, of course, before just a general response. I also have legacy commenters that have been for years commenting on the channel, and we have built a rapport. So even if you're not a subscriber, I will still read your comments with joy. And of course, there's always stories to be read, and if you pour your heart out into a comment, I will certainly enjoy reading it. So I won't ignore quality ones. But channel's growing, which is great. There are future video topics coming up, and the future video topics will include product recommendations. There will be, for instance, cello movies and book reviews, and of course covers of all types. For instance, I have a lot of product recommendations I want you guys to consider. There'll be affiliate links that you can help the channel out with as well. But yes, there's this fantastic, if you have heard of this thing here, this is a cello stand. I'll show you. This is a cello stand. Well, this is not that. But if you have an electric cello, this is a Hercules cello stand. It's made for the cello, and it's fantastic. I absolutely love this thing. And if you have one of these, there's no way to put it down, so you have to have one of these stands. And you can put your nice cello on it, you can put your electric cello on it, and put in the last setting there. I didn't think I'd use it as much as I'm using it now. It's by Hercules, and I'll even leave a link in the description if you want to purchase one. They're fantastic. Just to give you an example how wonderful these things are. Here's my nice Italian cello. And I honestly have no doubt in that. It's a fantastic product. And so, but you know, what's great about it is you can have your electric cello, place it in there, and it sits really nicely. But that's not the main thing I use it for. There's a little hook on the back where you can put your bow. I didn't think I'd use it as much, but I am using it quite a lot. A lot. So, yes, Hercules, cello stand, great stuff. That's just one of the things that I have become quite fond of because I've been teaching so much, and that's where I love doing my teaching. So, more future video topics and just general information about the studio is there has been a lot of investment into the studio to make the experience much more higher quality. And so, of course, not only have I been training and taking up here, taking lessons with my professor, but I've also been thinking about interesting ideas. And so if you have an interesting idea, for instance, there must be an Ennio Morricone cover coming in the near future. And of course, lesson for that as well. This time is limited, and so I will do my best to cover as much as I can in the future. Which I want to talk about one of the most, the reason why we're here is the Ned Steinberger interview. I had a fantastic opportunity to meet Ned Steinberger at the beginning of confinement, and let me tell you, there's a rare time in your life. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to meet a true pioneer of music, of musical instruments. Ned Steinberger is that man. He is a pioneer in our modern era. He has done a significant amount of work in the world of electric basses. When electric bass, I didn't know anything about that. So watch the interview. It's great. There's tons of content on there. There's different, if you want to pick one, the questions, I divided them up, or you can watch the whole thing. What's great about Ned is that, you know, he got inspired to make electric cellos from making electric basses, but he didn't go from the violin to the cello. He went the other way. So he went bass to cello. So he's fully committed. He much more prefers our instruments than violins. It's pretty cool. So I just kind of like that. I honestly, it's a really, really special thing to have. And I thank you, Ned, for having allowed me to have interviewed you again. I felt kind of foolish asking some of the questions to him because this is a man who is, we throw around the word legendary in the modern context. Well, he is. He took what we knew about the guitar and turned it on its head. And then he went into the foray of making electric bowed instruments when nobody was doing what he did. Invented the polar piezo pickup for his NS cello, which is over there, and was able to. I have to talk about it. I have to go get it. I have to get it. This instrument right here is just fantastic. And I'm going to do a comparison of both this and this right here. And these are significantly different instruments. Very different instruments. This is great for practice. This is great for performance. And I hope in the foreseeable future to be performing on stage here in France with some groups. This man, Ned Steinberger, built this cello, and he didn't build it per se, he designed them, but he designed it with the idea of the future of what electric bowed instruments can be. And I feel humbled and honored to have talked to him. And let me tell you, this string right here, the F string, doesn't exist outside of this instrument. You may think, oh, why does a person need to have an electric instrument? And I tell you, there are opportunities that going electric provides. And I think that if we all open our minds up a little bit and get out of the fantastic, beautiful world that is cello and expand into more avenues, the sky is not even the limit. The stars are the limit. So watch that interview. It is fantastic. You will learn a lot about strings. You'll learn a lot about bows. You'll learn some funny stories about him. And if you're interested in going electric, then The next video is going to really interest you because I'm going to compare, I'm going to pull it back here. I am going to compare this to this. I'm going to do a proper comparison of a popular electric cello, which is the best that Yamaha offers, the 210, to the NS. And so for the purpose of this, if anyone watching this video in the future, I want you to leave this sort of hashtag in your question. So when I search in my comments, I can just quickly come up. CR5 versus 210. Can't see that. Here we go. Go back to that. So this is coming in the future. There's my little like thing. And that was silly. Right. This right here is going to be compared to this right here, and use the hashtag you're up here, CR5 versus 210, in your questions now or later, doesn't matter. So I have many parameters are going to be comparing between these two instruments. I've been arranging music, particularly for this instrument, that goes down to the low F. You will be hearing that. You're not going to hear any of it today. It's not even attached. Nothing's attached today. This is a quick studio update. But it's going to be wonderful. So I do want to involve you guys in the discussion of that. Those of you who are interested in electric cello, of course. This is the future. I'm telling you right now, this is the future. So that was my studio update. I'm going to get to reading your comments, and then I'm just going to toodaloo out of here, because I got to be up quite early to teach New Zealand in I don't even know what time it is now, but New Zealand's going to be waiting for me. So I'm going to put this away, read some comments, and there's not much, and I'll go home. Well, I am home. I am home. I want to see if there's anything else I missed before I get to the comments. Oh, by the way, how are you? I wonder how you're doing. Now, later, leave a comment. But a lot of us out here there, there's been a lot of discovery of cello, and that's a wonderful thing to have. So it's wonderful. It is wonderful. Anyway, enough of that. I'm going to get right into some of your comments, and then I'm going to go rest because I've been teaching all day. Right. Not many today. Well, these are always random. Maybe I should plan my live streams more often. Pop out chat. I'll make it bigger. That didn't work. So hello to everyone that is tuned in. Thank you for tuning in. Trying to see if... Oh, there it goes. Just do that. Circuit in Strings to Mr. Stern. Hi. This guy's you're very I love your comments. Leave one comment. When you leave a comment, you leave sometimes multiple comments. Leave one time. Hi, Mickey. And hello, Robert. Hello, Manish. Hello, Jared. Hello, Lost Girl. Hello, Martina. I'm glad you like the Hercules stand. And I'm glad you like the NS interview, Dotted Ice. Thank you very much for watching it. Shiloh Matthew says, I've been waiting to play cello for years, and I'm getting one in a few months. Which would be recommend for a beginner? I currently play piano and ukulele. You're amazing. By the way, thank you, Shiloh. Honestly, get the cello that fits your budget. Don't go out and splurge on something. This is a complicated and sometimes archaic and sometimes very expensive lifestyle to have. I'm going to be honest with that. Yet, Amazon and the internet has made it completely accessible. I always suggest renting from a luthier, but even if you can't do that, just get a cello on Amazon. Get something with, I would say ebony parts, but I want to get away from saying ebony parts. Just get a cello, get one, and go from there. Let's start playing it as is. Don't try to upgrade it. Play it as is, and then see how good things go. You have to start at a baseline, and then things go up. I never expected to own a cello like this thing right here. I never did. This was a complete unexpected thing. I never expected to be playing in this electric cello as much as I'm doing these days. It's just never. So you need to grow into this process, okay? Grow into it. And you'll find out there'll be some shock about certain prices of certain things, certain I never would have expected to spend as much as I did on a bow like this. There are just certain things out there that you would be like, okay, it's time to understand that this is going to take some time and commitment, and just get a cello. I don't care how you get it. I will never turn my nose up to any person, any subscriber, any student that comes to my studio with a cello of any quality, because it becomes gold in your arms, and that's more important. So for all those videos out there that trash the cellos and the violins that you get online for cheap, don't listen to them. Don't. Because if that's what you can afford, then get it. Start playing. And you upgrade from there. Ooh, Julio just got a cello. Welcome to the world, Julio. Will you post some music of you playing with that F string? Dotted dice says. And I will say yes, I will. There are some tunes that I'm working on. I did one already, the Captain Picard. So I'm going to specifically be providing songs that you can only play on the low F. What's super cool about it is if you ever wanted to play bass, Dotted Ice, or anyone watching this, if you ever wanted to play stand-up bass, that cello, and you're going to preview, but that cello is a bass. It is a bass. It's a cello bass. It has all the notes of a big old bass except the one single half step E natural. You have everything. You have the G, you have the D, you have the A, you don't have the E, you have the F, and you have all those notes in that. I call it my cello bass. I'm going to do like Happy Together with it from the Turtles. I'm going to do Tout le monde veut devenir le chat. Tout le monde le devenir une cat. Sorry, that was inside joke with the French people here. And other songs, jazz stuff, and of course some classical stuff as well. Yeah, it's gonna be fun. Right. So, guaranteed that's gonna come up. You're welcome for the updates, cello performance, and thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. Hello, Boyi Hyper. Mark Poor, greetings from Virginia. Love your videos. Thank you so much. You're welcome, Mark. Greetings from Poland. Oh, they're here from Poland. Okay. I'm going to say Martina Kowalski. So I can get the last part. For anyone who's familiar with Poland, well, if you're familiar with The Witcher, which is a wonderful book I've been reading, a video game I'll be playing, a song I covered. It's from a Polish author, so check out The Witcher. You're welcome, Robert. I meant every word to Shiloh. And that's one thing you'll always get from me. You'll get me saying authentically things to you guys. I'm not going to lie to you, but I'm not going to ever make you feel like you're lesser. That's one thing that sort of infects our culture. It's always like elevating. And what's great thing about Ned Steinberger is that he provides the same baseline amazing technology in all of his instruments. He honestly believes that making music accessible, you can get one of his wave cellos for less than $1,000, and you can do a lot with that. I honestly hope that in the next 20 years, 10 years, that really the electric cello really becomes part of pop culture. It has been a little bit. I think Clean Bandit, the girl from Clean Bandit, plays a little bit. It's coming up. So we have Daniel Brine. Hello, Daniel. Thank you. You've been playing cello 10 years. Okay, cool. Very nice. This is a tough question. I'm 2 months into cello. Jared817. Hello. Thank you for the question. But I feel like I've stagnated. I feel like I don't know how to practice. How do I break out? This is good. This is a question that has many different answers. First, Jared, is why are you playing cello? This is one of the, if you ever have a lesson with me, the very first time we will meet, I will ask you this question. So what brings you to cello? Why are you here? Why are you playing cello? Are you stuck in a method of Suzuki, Fouillard, or Dotzauer? Are you stuck in a certain tract that you don't feel expression? We play cello. We don't work cello. Remember that. We play music. We don't work music. So if you feel stagnated, you need to ask yourself why. Why has it not become fun anymore? I play a lot of cello. I teach a lot of cello. And every time I get with a new student, or even with my continuing students, and I wish you guys were like, I wish my students would actually like come on my live streams, but they don't. But if you ever do watch them, hi. I told them to come on, but they don't. Anyway, stagnating is a thing that you need to break it up. There's a monotony of routine that sometimes you need to stop doing. And with, like, for instance, when you are first learning an instrument, and you're 2 months into this, what's interesting how you put it, Jared, I'm 2 months into cello lessons. So I'm going to ask, you should ask yourself, what are you doing outside of lessons? Stuff that your teacher isn't really asking you to do. Why did you come to cello? Did you hear a song in a video game, you see a YouTube video that you want to learn, and you came to your teacher and said, hey, can I learn that? And your teacher said, no, you can't. Maybe you should rethink who's teaching you. And maybe you should say, bring music to your studio, to your teacher, and be like, I want to learn this. And your teacher's going to either choose to be nice and say, okay, we'll try it, or not. And then you will start to see the end of the tunnel. I wasn't going to talk about this, but Jared, you really got me thinking about it. And I'm going to discuss this in the near future. This right here is a practice strategy. And I wasn't going to talk about this. And in the world, this is a very, 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 very rough draft, but I've been working on it in the studio. And it all started with one of the students in Canada, which had a very, very detailed, like almost minute by minute strategy. And I thought to myself, what is it about her exactitude that I needed to integrate into not only my own pedagogy in my studio, but also diffuse here on the channel? When you play cello, you are engaging in two different actions, work and labor. Now, work, as you see right here, is on a linear path. It has a beginning and an end. I'll have a video about this, but labor is cyclical. Labor is something that you always do, and these are the things that you labor on. For instance, like warming up and tuning, your tone, your timbre, your intonation, things that you always work on, you never stop. But then things that you learn once and you never learn again, or for instance, like rhythm, articulation, dynamics, music theory. These are all things that you do. But in the context of having your single hour of music, Jared, hour of practice, you possibly are going to do a number of different things, because as a cellist, you are both a bee, which you very directly want to do this, want to do that. You're very point A, point B. Go to flower, go to hive. Go to flower, go to hive. You're very much, that's the bee. The bee, they call it a bee line for a reason. It's straight. They get all fallen, pollen, boom, back to the hive. So you have to be the bee, the busy bee. You have to work. But you're the butterfly too. and you have to meander about. That's what cello is about. It's about the wandering and not having a direction. And this is why in this strategy, you see a combination of two shapes, linear shapes, but also nonlinear shapes. Because at times we engage in things that we need to, I call them rabbit holes. We fall down them, we explore them. We allow the joy of learning come through with us. Now, because you're 2 months into cello, you are very much in this stage, what I call the student stage. And the student is someone that discovers. As you're learning these different tasks that you're doing, you will then move on to stage 2, which is the technician. And this is where you start to really do one thing and one thing only. You execute. You execute different things. But what you want to be, Jared, and a lot of people always want to be, is at this very last stage. After stage 6, you want to be at stage 7. You want to be at that happy, warm, fuzzy place that we all see playing like that. We want to be there. Well, that takes time. That takes time to get to there. So love the process of learning. Love the moments where you have something clear, the little wins, whatever it is. Do things outside of lesson. Don't tell your teacher that you're working on something. Talk to your friends. Hey, I'm learning this, make videos of yourself, put it on YouTube and just show your progress. So you can look back in a year from now like, well, I've definitely gotten better. There's a lot of things that you can do to inspire yourself. And I hope that's a long answer, sort of roundabout answer to helping you. But I really hope for all the beginners out there that you have to understand that this is a world, this is a high art. It's, when I said the 21 reasons why cello's making cello playing difficult in that video, it's a challenge. It's definitely a challenge to make a single good tone. It just is. But when you're able to do that, oh, it's beautiful. Anyway, a long answer, but hope it helped. Daniel asks, for the electric cellos, are the strings and bow the same as normal? Very good question. On this electric cello here, I can definitely say that this is not, this is as normal as can be, this cello. It's got Larsons on it, spiral chords on it. It's got a bridge from Germany. It's as normal as it gets. So if you consider that to be normal. The Ned Steinberger cello is not. The Ned Steinberger cello is, watch the interview when he talks about strings, about the E string. This is a man that, if you've ever felt, and I talked to him about strings, the word is otaku, super geeky, really getting into something. If you ever felt like you wanted to find a kindred spirit who has as committed to getting the best out of cello, Ned Steinberger is your man. He really, really is. So the strings on the NS cellos are not exactly helichords. By the way, if you ever want to know what a helichord string is, the history about it, watch the video. We talk about who invented it. He knows the guy. Pickering was his name. So yeah, those are not precisely, those are engineered, those are helichords, but they've been modified for the electric cello. This is just simple strings. That's an incredible instrument over there. And I hope one day you guys do that too. Get that too. As for the bow, well, the bow's a bow. So you can get, a bow's a bow. It's going to make whatever it is. So I use my Pernambuco bows. Yeah. And the 5-time method seems to be hard because all my attempts stink. Jared, back to your question. Yes, I call it the smiley game. And be very precise when you do the 5-time method. I kind of like I call it the smiley game, where you do things 5 times in a row. You have to be forgiving, but also precise enough that you don't try to climb that big mountain. Just try to get through that first stone. It's kind of like a mountain climber, someone who's bouldering. I don't do either, but I was thinking if I did, I would try to get from this spot to that spot. I went hiking the other day up here in the mountains in France, and we found a beautiful waterfall. And there was these big rocks, and I want to get to the waterfall, okay? But there was a big rock here, and a big rock there, and a big rock there. And I had to like kind of hop sometimes. I had to take my shoes off and kind of hop barefoot. You don't think about the last rock, Jared. You think about the rock directly in front of you, and you plan it carefully so you make sure you don't hurt yourself. So you make sure you develop good habits. You go each rock at a time. So make your goals smaller. Make them accessible. Maybe that'll help you. Melissa LeBlanc Williams, hello. I started playing cello. Well, I'm glad you like the answer, Jared. I started playing cello that I rented a couple weeks ago and started lessons this coming week, and very cool. Welcome. Welcome. Hello, Ireland. Hello, Moscow. Oh, Shiloh's in Moscow. Moscow. I try to make that as good as possible. And we have thoughts on playing with leading a virtual cello group for amateurs. On playing with or leading a virtual cello group with amateurs. So, dotted dice, really, dotted dice, okay. Dotted dice. I love the people's names online. I just go by my name. Can't go. I will, eventually my time will become up here. Because I have all these different things I do, so. There we go. There's more of me. Eventually my time will become less and less, but I still want to teach more and more. And thanks to my beautiful wife, she recommended, and I think she's really right, and I'll have the capabilities of doing so. Long story short, I will be giving group lessons online, and I need to find a way to be able to stream this so people can watch the lesson happen. And we'll start on Saturdays for 2 people, and both will be able to log in, and we will maybe even start streaming our experience so other people can learn as well and ask questions or just kind of watch, things like that. Maybe on YouTube, maybe on Twitch. So I may start doing that on Twitch. So yes, group lessons will definitely be something. We've been having lots of fun doing play-alongs online, which is great, which requires one person to mute their camera, and it works. The studios are learning. The students in the studio are definitely learning. Wow. Right now in South Carolina, we're moving to Texas soon. I'm originally from there, Shiloh. Very cool. So, yeah. That. Go back up again. Go back to the virtual group of amateurs. So absolutely. There's going to be group lessons in the foreseeable future because I love teaching. What I love about teaching is just like the growth of you guys. I'm terrible at gardening, terrible at it. I kill plants, but I make cellists grow. So I'm good at that. So that's my thing. So yeah, enough of that. Circuits and strings. Also learning the 5-string cello. This guy is just love your comments, man. You are just like super informed. Ted Crew. Hi, Jonathan. Hello. Sorry, we're up here. I'm back to my second camera. It's a good problem to have, right? I love your content. Thank you. Why is it so hard to find jazz cellists? Is the 5th string between strings too hard for improvisation? Very good. Part of where I want the channel to be going is I want to be getting more into, of course, modern music. Jazz cellists, what's interesting about the cello is because it's a particularly middle baritone instrument if you go high. And if you go low, then you're a bass. So I think there can be more of this. I don't think enough people know. There's been the Turtle Island String Quartet, and there have been jazz cellists out there, yes. It's just not something that classical musicians, you learn. You learn your Papa etudes, you learn your Bach, you learn your Beethoven, and then to then reopen your brain to learn improv, Phrygian and Mixolydian, Locrian, scales, and then start to see music structurally different. It's a stretch for a lot of classical musicians when all they want to do is go up there and play Mozart symphonies. And I'm of the two camps. I love them both. And because I've done so much of one, classical, I really would like to jump and deepen it more. So very good question. There will be continuing answers to that in the future of this channel. Is the 5-string tuning between strings too hard for improvisation? Absolutely not, actually. When you go 5 strings on an instrument, you have the choice on the cello. You can go high, you can go low. I choose to go low on it. I'm always talking about it, looking at it, because I need a second Hercules stand. You can go high or you can go low. And I had a 6-string version of this. I'll zoom in a little bit so you can like enjoy what it looks like actually. I had a 6-string version of this, and what's cool about this, you can see the dots on it. What's super cool about the 5-string is that it fits so nicely into your palm. It doesn't feel too thick. It's actually quite nice. And I will compare it, of course, to all the instruments out there. But this right here, if you were asked me directly which is more comfortable to play, this right here, or let me turn my camera, here we go, since we're talking electric, which is more comfortable to play, this or this, I will say this is a lot more comfortable to play. Even though it's a wider neck, the build quality is significantly better. This is just a far, far better instrument to play, much easier to work with in every regard. There we go. Shouldn't do that. I chose to go low instead of high. You can go high strings on these cellos. You can get, and you should watch the Ned Steinberger video about the high string, the problem, the reality of placing the E string on a cello. And so he actually attempted to make a round string, and it's just really not possible. But there are options for those of you that want to go with that 5th string. You can get E strings. I actually have some Larsons. They're incredibly difficult to find, but I actually have some. No, I chose to go low because I said earlier this is very much like a cello bass, except for one single note. And if you ever have jammed with friends, and this is another thing I'm going to be talking, thanks to Coralie down there in Australia, she wants to go camping with her friends, and we're going to start doing something called Campfire Cello. And Campfire Cello will be songs that 3 generations know that you will be able to jam with your cello and be able to play along with people. But you have to know both the melody and the harmony and the bass line. And people going to start singing, well, you need to know the bass line. You know, of course you can't hear that right now. You'll need to know bass lines. And so that's why I chose to go low, because I'd rather play a nice bass line than some crazy high stuff. I think there's plenty of the guitars and violins out there to do that. I'd rather stay on the bass section. So that's why. But I don't think it's a stretch at all. This is you can go 4 strings, but I think if you go electric, you got to go 5 strings. And what's great about it, you can restring it I can take this off and put the high string on there. I can put a high E on there. So yeah, it's just one of those things where you know, it's what's interesting about this instrument, it is completely the future. It's incredible creation. Everything about it. It is responsibly built with a low carbon footprint parts, and every single detail is of the highest quality and attention. There's no comparison. So yeah, I'm a fanboy. Stuff. Anyway, well, we have Bev being a 73-year-old beginner. Welcome to cello. Paul, hi Jonathan, love your cello channel and your cello tips. You're welcome. Do I use cheap cello strings for gardening? No, I keep my cheap cello strings because there's always a student that's going to break them. I don't have cheap cello strings. I have cheap guitar strings. But Now that you think about it, I have a lot of strings, like gold strings. I should use them for gardening. We have a tomato plant that needs hoisting up, so thanks for the tip. Whippets. Hello, hello, my teacher does not want me to mark the positions on my cello. It is better with markings on the sleeves. Don't speak English very well. France for whippet. Hello, France. Bonjour. Donc, pour le scotch sur le manche ici, sur le touche. Donc, tu vois, j'ai le scotch là. Et le but est, le moment le scotch a tombé, tu es prêt, continuer sans le scotch. Bien sûr, il faut développer son oreille. Mais si tu prends plein de temps quand tu cherches pour le sonnet, pour la justesse, toujours la justesse. Tu vois, on a le scotch ici. C'est un entraînement pour la forme de main. J'enseigne en français et mes élèves utilisent le scotch. Et, de temps en temps, le scotch a tombé. C'est le moment, laisse le scotch tomber. Enlève le scotch. Et si tu peux, continuer sans scotch, sans le markings. C'est mon périgage. Mais si ton professeur préfère que tu restes dans le comment dire en français, le ciel, pas le ciel, mais le fog, c'est difficile, mais la différence est utilise le scotch pour l'entraînement de main, entraînement de forme de main gauche. C'est tout. Just do that. OK? C'est pas un problème pour moi dans ma studio et pour mes élèves aussi. So, faire une discussion avec son professeur et on arrive à son leçon avec le scotch. Donc, je préfère le scotch. D'accord? C'est comme ça. So sometimes I need to. Merci, amor. Oh, we got the man. I always gotta say hello to you. Yes, Henner, hi Henner, he knew me back. It's a good look at that one. He knew me back in the day in San Francisco. 100% fluent, non. 20% en courant en français. C'est pas 100%, mais ça suffisamment pour mon studio. Je parle la langue de musique, d'accord? Et je connais le blague, d'accord? I made a question. Anyway, Henner, it's always a pleasure. We got to plan our coffee and discussion. This confinement has brought so much of us together. I want to, at this point, say thank you to each one of my subscribers, to each one of my new learners on the channel. The channel has grown quite more than I expected and during this confinement. It is a silver lining during this whole process. A lot of us are going through some really difficult times. And this is a time where music can be your light, can be your shining grace. Think about all the people out there that don't have anything to do, that don't have a creative outlet. I can tell you there is a number of students, at least 3, who have joined my studio during the confinement, who have found their cello, dusted it off. I'm looking at you, Henner. and decided to start playing it. Because they didn't have anywhere to go. They had nowhere to go. Yes. And some of them had significant others buy them cello. Says, you're sitting at home. Thinking about one of my studio students right now. You're at home. You're doing nothing. My dream is to have a husband that plays cello. Handed him a cello he bought online. So anyway, yes, it is a beautiful, wonderful thing to play music. It is a blessing to play music. It's a wonderful time right now to learn music. There's just so much of it. It's great. It's great. Anyway, So you wanted me to answer that in English. All right. Harrison G, I'll answer the question in English about the tapes. About these tapes right here. These tapes. And you'll quite notice that this is so delicate, I don't want to ever mess with it. Put it back. The tapes. Ooh, the tapes. Ooh. Do you need to have tapes in these positions? Here's the thing. I was just telling I forgot your name. Whippet. To understand that these tapes are there to train the shape of your hand. It's not there to be a crutch. It's there to help you. And then when they fall off, leave them off. That's it. They are there to help build confidence. They are there to help you understand, give you a visual cue as to what you're doing. They're not there. You're not supposed to turn your head, of course. But at the beginning, you're going to turn your head a lot. You need to understand, how can you develop a good ear if you don't know how the note sounds? If you don't have a tuner on your stand at all times, don't put it in just for tuning at all times. The problem with the many teachers is that they're measuring you by the yardstick of their experience, not understanding in the modern context there's a lot more white noise. There's a lot more things going on, and having these tapes simplifies life, especially teaching online. It's great. Teach. This is the first. This is the fourth. These are just, you don't need these up here. But even so, sometimes when I'm learning a new concerto, learning something, I will make markings. These are ebony boards. Come to France. Come to Italy. Look at the student cellos. They had markings in them. They're in museums. So no, there is no shame in having these. In some cellos I've seen in a Cremona, there's one with chalk markings on it. Movable frets to teach. They're just there to teach. Develop a hand shape. And once you've learned it, you won't need it anymore. It's not about necessarily placing your fingers on tapes. It's about building a shape in your hand. Yes, I speak a little French. Right. How about that black tape? How about black tape? All right, I'll get to that. I'm a beginner from Scotland, learning by your videos. I started the basic lessons, but I'm not sure how to hold the bow properly. You show two or more ways in your videos. Okay, bow hold, bow hold, bow hold. I was going about this very much so. There's one bow hold video I have where I talk about this very much, and just going to quick rundown of what this is going to be about. You start with a very relaxed hand, but I'm going to now add this right here. This shape is what you need to do right there. See how I'm putting my thumb into intermediary phalange, this part here? And this is the shape. Look how my thumb isn't out like that. It's like this. I'm going to insert the bow, and your middle finger will sort of drape over. Now, there's many tricks I can do. Take a lesson with me online. I can teach you how to do this. Nice, tunnel through that. And if you're thinking too much about shaping it, what needs to first happen is very much relax. I have a video of André Navarra, a wonderful cellist from France, from the area here. And you learn to do this very simple shape. The most important thing you need to know about the bow hold is that it is a constant pronation, a constant torquing this direction. And sometimes I tell my students to have their fourth finger locked out like that to force the shape. And eventually you don't need it, because a lot of you do this. Sometimes it's the bow hold, but sometimes it's the movement in between. And today I had a student that when she went out this direction, can't see that right all the way. When my student went out this direction, she did this, and a lot of people do this. And what you need to do is this, like that. So there's a lot of tricks that you can do in order to learn to not only hold the bow, but hold the bow in the context of playing. And if you've had a good bow hold, a good way to test it is, to take the bow with your left hand and move it out and see if it's still there. There's many things happening, engaging of muscles as I'm doing this. There's also the elbow. There's so many different matters we have to do when it comes to this. So we could talk for hours about the bow and the bow hold and bow technique. We do play a bow instrument, so good luck to you. You will hear the CR in the near future. You're welcome. So what about black tape? I don't have black tape on this one here, but I do use black tape, and that's the thing. You can use black tape, and you can use black tape. So yeah, be aware of the type of tape you use. The letters are PME. You want to get that type of material for your cello. But yeah, you will hear the CR in the very foreseeable future. So yes, I will help you as much as I can. But anyway, I think that's it. I think I've been online for almost an hour usually, and I have had a request to play the CR. Well, okay. It's a work in progress. Trying to figure this out. I got my new thing here. Trying to get it to work. Alright, since you asked, I feel obliged. Can't talk so much about something and not do something about it. Let's see if this works. Woohoo! Trying to get it sorted. Right. The cool thing about this instrument that sets it aside from everything else is the fact that you can stand up with it. I'm still getting used to this part, the part where I'm trying to learn to play without the chair. Now, usually it ends there. That's all I got for you right now, but there's so much more in store for an instrument like this. Try to get my my shape down. But check that out. Be able to walk around. It is the coolest thing. The coolest thing to be able to play standing up. It's the coolest thing in the world. You can play so much with this, and there's nothing holding you back. And it's Ned Steinberger that did it for us. Yes, he did it. But you can do all sorts of things. Anyway, so thank you again for tuning in. Yes, it does. It does, Ted. It does. It is. Stand up again. Yeah. I'm trying to figure out a way to play it, Oh, I'm at a loss for everything. But yes, it's very nice. That stuff is not supposed to be for us guys. Anyway, in the foreseeable future, you will get a full breakdown. Hey, suggest some songs I should play on this besides the other stuff. Stuff you've always I think that would sound pretty cool in a cello. And I'll start doing that. Thank you again for tuning in, everyone. Do I prefer the stand or the strap? Last question. I prefer the coolest, very much like a bass. But it's cello bass, right? What I was talking about, check this out. On the bass, the double bass, the big one, the top highest note is your open G on a cello. That's their first string. Their second string is a D. Their third string is an A. And their last string is an E, but we have an F. We have one half step above that. Pretty cool. So you technically have two instruments in one when you get one of these. AC/DC. I was learning Hell's Bells. Okay. I'll do something like that. So there's a whole world of distortion and stuff. I'm looking at my little distortion box, and I have to load it up with. This is a whole other world. We'll go talk about it with a completely different video, but there's just so much to just learn when it comes to playing, adding distortion to an instrument like this, because you can't add guitar distortions, but you can't add bass distortions. You're sort of in between, in the middle. You can go almost as high as guitars, but you got to stay in the bass world. So it's very the Doors. So my wife is asking for the Doors. I gotta put a different key. The Doors is a band from the 60s, if you've never heard of them, and Ray Manzarek was always jamming on his oh, he had this bass line going on his left hand all the time. I love that band very much. But yeah, there you go. I don't make my own songs. Sometimes I make arrangements, a lot of arrangements, but I don't really write. I wrote one song for my wife, and two songs. I wrote a Santa song for Santa Claus. Anyway, but there you go. Anyway, there will be lots of fun stuff coming in the foreseeable future. I've hit the hour mark. And I want to thank everyone for tuning in. Thank you for your support. My heart goes out to each and every one of you. And yes, thank you again for being part of the channel, watching it grow. The content will be better quality. The playing will be better quality. And it's a beautiful, wonderful time to learn music. So get your cello out. And go out there and practice. And have fun. Bye-bye. And good night. Bye-bye. Yes, bye-bye.